I was there, alone, in the middle of nowhere. I could see no soul around, but there were noises, random, illogical, nonsensical noises. It was unbearable, and I was running real hard. And this is not madness, because out of these voices, there was this one distinct voice which I dared to listen to. And suddenly all the lights changed. It was about to be one of those bright sunny days, but that was a long way to go. I was up even before the sun, and I was being punished right now by this individual. And the way I see it, the reasons were rather frivolous.
क्या चल रहा है?
Maybe.
Madam. Walk fast.
The one who slapped me real hard. That was Arav, and he was late for prep. A man is the sum of his misfortunes. One day you'd think misfortune would get tired, but then time is your misfortune. And whether it's by chance or by design, there's not a thing you can do about it. A boy in school was on his way for dinner, but then he realized that it was raining. Not so heavily though. So he went back to take his umbrella, just in case. He was finding it for a couple of minutes, and while he was looking for his umbrella, Arav was on his way to the dining hall. By the time Arav reached the dining hall, the boy who forgot the umbrella couldn't find it, because it was taken by his classmate, who was asked to arrange it for his senior. The boy reached the dining hall totally drenched, because he didn't have an option, and by that time it had started raining heavily. All this while Arav had finished his grace, and was taking his plate and his chair to come and sit with me. The boy was momentarily distracted, because he was drenched, and he slipped on the wet floor, causing him to bang into Arav and wasted all of his food, which led him to get food from outside, which was to come at 11, the time when God switched duties. But that night the guard on duty went to take a leak, and seeing no guard on the gate, Arav signaled the delivery guy to get the food in. And while Arav was paying him off, the guard came out and caught him. By the time his housemaster was done with him, it was already 1.
1 o'clock. Now go to bed immediately and don't be late for the prayer tomorrow.
And if only one thing would have happened differently. If the guard zip would have functioned properly, or the senior would have an umbrella of his own, or the boy would have remembered to take his umbrella, or it would have stopped raining, Arav would have safely reached my table, and he would have slept by 10. My life was a total mess. I had flunked in my exams. I was doing favors all day. It was already very hot and I was sweating like a pig. And now if that guy who's coming right towards me does something to piss me off, I wouldn't wait for a second to punch him, which I normally wouldn't do. I wanted to know as to why I couldn't get along with people. Was something wrong with me or was it the others? I obviously chose to believe the latter, but the fact remains, I didn't have friends. Sometimes I wonder who I am, and being answerless frustrates me.
लगाना यार तुम.
Wait, Sagar, is the common room opening tonight?
Common room. Yeah, why not?
लंबा टाइम हो गया यार उस बात को.
Yeah. Acha, you know, I had to tell you this thing, yaar. Yesterday I saw it. Wait, let me remember it. Just a second.
वो सब छोड़.
हाँ?
See this. मस्त है यार इन लोग का. पागल हो गए हैं.
Yeah. The thing that we don't know, they're in pain. You know what? Everybody is like the Joker of Batman. Life has given them all a scar people call smile. But when you see beyond that scar, that self-imposed social image, you realize everyone's putting up a show, pretending to be what they always wanted to be. And that's when you see the real person.
क्या हो गया यार? अच्छा ये बता, what were you telling me?
I forgot.
चल let's go.
You know, in a boarding school, your identity is not your name. It's not your face, not who you are. It's what you do. And to do what you want to, you have to hunt for opportunities. Nobody comes and just gives it to you. One has to find them. And if not, then make them.
Today's assembly, I was speaking to you about the importance of character in life. But seeing the behavior of Sagar, I am completely disappointed and disgusted. He has completely destroyed the sanctity of the assembly. I don't know what was that relevant and important that this boy was continuously talking to the boy sitting next to him during the entire assembly. I want this boy to come here and speak to you all that what was that important thing that he could not wait for the assembly to give over, and I would like this boy to come up and run up and talk to you.
Yeah, so I've been caught a little, no, actually completely off guard here, and I really don't know what to say. Good morning, everyone, and let me just recount what happened right now. Well, I was talking, and then Sir caught me, and I really don't know why he's called me up here. But I guess it's something to do with disrespecting the assembly, or maybe destroying the sanctity of the assembly. But then, what about calling up a random misbehaved student like me to come up and deliver a speech and to say whatever he wants to? That maintains the sanctity of the assembly, right? And it's not surprising that as a kid I sometimes do behave strangely, immaturely, and maybe even stupidly. But I guess it's only the kids who are allowed to behave that way. Occasionally the support staff, but not the teachers. No, they need to be mature at all times. And I mean, I'm not saying that this, me being here, is immature, but it sure does look like it, doesn't it? Anyway, I guess I am strange, immature, and stupid. But you know, I would really appreciate it if I was the only one acting that way. And yeah, so that's about it. Thank you.
Utter nonsense. You have not realized that you have completely disappointed me. And let me tell you, it is nobody's loss, it is your loss. And what nonsense you were speaking about? It has completely discouraged me and disappointed me.
There's this thin line between doing something brave and doing something stupid. It's just a matter of perception. The gig that I just pulled off was nothing but entertainment for most of them. Something new and unusual had happened, though it was me who had to live with the consequences.
You want to do something in your life or not? You just tell me that. Where's your register? Show me your register.
But after speaking in front of everybody, after listening to yourself, everything else in your life seems trivial.
You want to make your career or not? You just tell me. Or you want to be a street vendor selling potatoes?
as if the volume's been turned down.
Yeah. Yeah, you. Come here. Walking in your dance room or what? बच्चे लो. हाँ यार बेली मारता रहता है 24 घंटे. क्या कर रहा था? क्यों? क्यों? क्या है? फिर से? Get down. Get down, hurry up. Get down.
So, it was my turn now. My turn to answer a question that man had pondered over for years. I don't know if I was right or wrong. All I know is that I did pretty well. No, it wasn't that great. While science has proven that anda pehle aaya, the debate regarding murgis and andas is far more intricate than a simple scientific discourse. One has to ponder over the philosophical ramifications of the murgi and the anda. If one is to accept that the murgi came first, he is in effect agreeing to creationism, with God being one giant murgi that gave birth to giant andas like us. However, the other end of the spectrum is agreeing that the anda came first, which makes one wonder exactly how did a dinosaur ka anda become a human ka anda?
उठ जा यार, it's dinner time. कितनी देर से सो रहा है?
The hangover of that assembly still wasn't gone. It was on the tip of everyone's tongue. All I did was just spoke it.
The world had, of course, never been kind to him. So it gave him unwanted joy. What's the reason for your joy? Isn't it a lesson?
I was there.
Tell me the reason of unwanted, please.
Suddenly I hear many of you whining continuously about the hardships in this.
Maybe not.
You know, I hear you talking, telling each other that it was a mistake to come. It's funny, makes me laugh. I laugh thinking how ignorant you can get. I wonder how you just cannot get the big picture. Because it's not your misdemeanors that we glorify and punish you for. It's in fact the punishment itself which matters the most. And not because we're sadists. No. But because we've seen the big picture. We've been through it. You know, I hear some of you say that you don't need to work for this house. You don't need to have the spirit. Because you say that you didn't choose to be in this house. You suffered. And you didn't choose to be in this world either. And now that you're here, you just can't imagine yourself anywhere else. And that's how it's supposed to feel for this house too. Because this is where you want to be till the end of your schooling life. And when at the end of the year, when they give away that best house trophy, I'm sure no one amongst us would want to be disappointed and remember that day as a day of failure. Because if that happens, I can assure you that loss is going to kill you. Every minute, every second it stays with you. But if you guys win, that joy, that sense of victory is going to remain with you throughout your wasted lives. And will give you hope. Because you would know that there is this thing called winning. And all of you would. All of you, my friends, would have done it at least once. Yeah, guys, stop whining and sulking about recordings. I'm not even going to discuss that.
Yeah, we know. It's not a big deal.
Well, it is. But I have done something about it. But anyways, we've got a house trophy to win. You guys with me? Yeah!
Now consider school as a blast furnace. A boarding school product is not born the way he ends up. Before the entire grooming process, he's just a random lost soul, like a chunk of iron ore fused with the mines itself. Now comes the first part of the process, the mining, where these unrefined chunks of valuable ore are recognized and carefully sorted out. Then comes the actual refining part. This is the real deal. It involves a lot of pressure, throwing around, and high temperature. which can sometimes even go up to 2300 Fahrenheit. Sounds a little harsh, but let me tell you, worth it. Because now you're only one step away from shiny, lustrous, smooth, and of course really hard durable metal. During all this mess, the iron gets to bond with coke, limestone, and tons of air. Now all it takes is one final step, which would convert wrought iron to steel. The wrought iron loaded at the bottom of the furnace emerges as pure steel of the highest level. Sometimes life in a boarding school can seem hopeless. It can seem hopeless because people walk around like the school owes them a living. The school owes you nothing. It was there first. Stop planning what to do, because life is what happens when you're busy making plans. I still look older than my age, and that boy's umbrella is still missing. He's got a new one though, and I found that one thing I needed. My aim isn't to touch the skies. My aim isn't to be great. My only aim is that at the end of my school life, I can look back at the guy facing me in the mirror and say, I'm proud of you.
So I guess this is it. The time for the moral of the story. But you don't have time for it. Because life is too short to be living someone else's dream. And today I'm not going to punish you. You know why? Because tonight you'll sleep. And when you sleep, you'll probably dream. And in your dream, you'll be somewhere. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere. But there will be noises. Random, illogical and nonsensical noises. And you will be running. Running real hard. And that will not be madness. Because you'll hear that one distinct voice which you'll dare to listen to. That is the voice you fear. And I don't want to be that voice. Because you can fear me and do whatever I tell you to with hatred inside. Or you can respect me. But the question is, will you respect someone who you know has done something wrong? Because fear is your greatest weakness. And respect is your unyielding strength. Because fear is not the answer and respect is not a question. Because fear, my friend, is not you.
Well, what was that? His story was interesting. And what did he grow up to be? A public speaker? A thinker? A writer? All I know is that he did teach me some things that I think will matter. But in all, I'm still trying to figure out the point behind all of it.
कहाँ था यार तू इतनी देर से?
अरे यार वो सागर की रिपोर्टिंग थी यार, अब हमको पीटी।
उसने तेरे को मार तो नहीं ना?
मारा तो नहीं यार।
Oh, he didn't punish you because
when you will be like randomly logical yes. How do you know about it, guys?
bro, we've all heard that story.
हाँ भैया, खत्म।